Hi everyone. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday evening. So today is Tuesday, which is the book release day. And today, if you don't know, is the King of Scars release day. I unfortunately don't have a hard copy to show you right now. There's my dog, because I left it at school. But I do have some awesome books to talk to you about today. And one of them is one of my new favorite adventure books. So this book I received as an ARC, and of course I waited to read it until it actually came out because I'm a procrastinator. Anyway, this book is super duper fun. If you liked Six of Crows, if you like National Treasure, if you like anything having to do with Paris and just beautiful imagery and artistry and just attention to detail, this book is for you. So it is about a group of, they're not really outcasts, but they're a group of friends, and they all have a secret or something going on with them. And one of them's name is Severin. I'm probably saying it wrong, and I apologize, but this is what I got. So his name is Severin, I think. It might be Severine. I don't know. They're French. And he used to be a patriarch of a house. And in this world, there are four houses that are very important. And they protect a Babel fragment from the Tower of Babel back in biblical times. And so he used to be a patriarch, and then it was told that he was not the blood heir of his house. And so his I'm sorry, Lispy, his house fell apart. Then there is his brother, Tristan, who has an affinity of the mind, and he can make plants do things. And so he has this forging ability. And in this world, forging is kind of like having a power over something. And Tristan can make plants do things. He can make beautiful plants. He can make plants have abilities. He can make beautiful greenhouses of plants. Then there is my favorite, Zofia, who is a Russian engineer, and her affinity is for fire and explosions. And she is awesome. And then she's called L'Enigma, but her name, and I apologize that I can't remember it at this exact second, her name is Lila. I called her Lila. It might be Layla. And Layla has a very dark secret. She was made. And I'm not going to get into what that means because I want you to read this book because it was beautiful. But her ability is that she can read objects. So she touches something, she can kind of see its history, what it's been used for, who's been using it, and so on. And if you haven't figured it out by now, the book I am talking about is the Roshani Chokshi's newest novel. It is absolutely beautiful. The Gilded Wolves. Y'all, this is a gorgeous book. So the cover is beautiful, but look how gorgeous this is when you undress it. So when you take off the jacket, it has a Horus eye. And then this is the Eiffel Tower, because they do a lot of work. The whole book takes place in Paris. And then this, I think, is a really important pattern that happens a lot in the book. So it was gorgeous. I honestly don't always like when books have too much attention to detail because I think it distracts. But I think, Rosh, you did an amazing job of keeping that balance and showing how truly beautiful Paris is and how beautiful of a time the era in which this book takes place is. So the whole thing revolves around Severin wanting to get his patriarchism. Either way, he wants to be a patriarch again. He wants to reclaim his house. And so in doing so, they have to team up with someone that they think is not the nicest guy. He's kind of shady. And they are to recover some artifacts that are going to lead to them getting him back into his house. And along the way, of course, there's a lot of trouble. It felt very Six of Crow-esque in that there is a grand heist that has to happen. And once the heist is planned and in in the happening, the book just goes. Like, I started this last Sunday, I think, and I finished it last night, but I think it took me about 2 or 3 days to get to the first 100-ish pages, and then once it picked up, it was just go, 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 go. It was so good. It was one of the greatest adventure stories I've read in a long time. A lot of the backstory that I've heard is that Roshani Chokshi wanted something like National Treasure with hotter people. I don't know if that's a true quote or not. That's what I've seen around Twitter. I know I should have fact checked, but the characters in this I much prefer to those in National Treasure, the movie. This is, y'all, I can't, like, this was such a good book. There's so many, there's attention to detail, but there's so many twists and turns, and not the kind of twists and turns that are like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Just like, oh, I would not have thought to put that detail there. I would not have thought about that. And at one point she's talking about how there's kind of the French version of the World's Fair going on, and they have, people from Africa, and they're put into an exhibit called a human zoo where they're being studied and watched like animals, and these are people. And in the author's note, Rosh said that she saw that in a clip somewhere where that was happening with Filipino people. And that really resonated with me, because when I read that part in the book, I was like, wait, what? Like, we have these beautiful things going on and people with these forging abilities and all this really cool, important stuff happening, but then we have this ugly thing happening, and it's gross. But it was really cool to see that dynamic added in there, so that you can see that while these beautiful things are happening, there's also some shady stuff going on in the background. There's all kinds of things going on that I really think is super cool, the way Roshani Chokshi worked everything in. So there, like I said, there's 4 main houses. There's 2 that are still alive right now. There's one that's called the Fallen House, and then there's Severine's house that has fallen as well. And you come to find out that the Fallen House is trying to rise again, but in that they have to have this Horus eye, which we saw on the cover. Sorry. To do so, but I'm not going to tell you why. And it is intense. It was definitely really cool. I highly, highly recommend this book. It was great. It will keep you awake at night because you won't want to stop reading it. It is really good. It did not surprise me at all that this hit the New York Times bestseller list yesterday. So I really hope that more people read it. It is awesome. I'm definitely going to be putting it in my middle school library. There was nothing in here that I think would raise any concerns. Of course, there's a minor love interest romance, but it's hinted at, and it's told that something happened in the past, but it can never happen again. And I don't think there was anything racy in it at all. I think the point and the storyline and everything that's trying to get across in the plot, with beautiful details, with the imagery, with everything going on, is perfect. I think this book is great. If you are someone who isn't quite wanting to read a middle grade book and isn't so far into YA, I think if you read adult books, adult fiction, you would love this book as well, because it's such a quick-paced adventure story with a teensy bit of mystery, a teeny tiny bit of romance. So, again, it's The Gilded Wolves. It's beautiful. Absolutely loved it. Definitely recommend. Go read it. I also want to tell you about this graphic novel that I just finished. It may or may not be a Maverick List nominee. And this I got from the Austin Public Library. It is called Deadendia, The Watcher's Test. It was very different. I would have never picked this for myself. It's super cool. It's about these kids who work in a theme park where the haunted house in the theme park, sorry, my nails are ratchet, is a portal to both heaven and hell. And our main character, Barney, lives in that haunted house. And this is his dog, who's like his only family. And this is his best friend who runs the haunted house. And things get really weird, but if you have students or if you like Adventure Time or Amazing World of Gumball or that other show on Cartoon Network, I'm thinking Patrick Star, but I know that's not the right person. Anyway, you'll see in a second. If they like that kind of animation, look at this. It's gorgeous and it's so much fun. I loved the colors and it was not hard to follow at all. And each beginning of each chapter focuses on a different character. So you get to learn a little about them. It was really fun. And it never gets super confusing. But look at how pretty that is. And it's so fun. I would probably also put this in my middle school library. So, like I said, Barney lives in the haunted house that is a portal to heaven and hell. And so there's an elevator that goes up and down. And demons and monsters come through the portal and they have to keep them out. And while there are also demons and monsters, angels also come and they have to keep things going, keep things in control and kind of take care of everything. And of course, Barney and his friends are the ones who are caught in the middle and they're like, well, I guess we got to keep everything safe and running smoothly. Very fun. A solid book that is just fun. I wouldn't say it's fluffy, but it was definitely a fun read. Another book that I am reading. So if you don't know, the Lone Star list for 2019 came out in December when the Maverick list and Tasha's list are released as well. And I am trying to read as many as I can so that I can talk to my students about them. And I found out about this book right before it was put on the Maverick list. I'm really excited about it. So I listened to the audiobook for Roshani Chokshi's last book. I can't remember her name, but it's somebody and the end, Aru Shah and the End of Time. And it was awesome. It was so good. It's part of the Rick Riordan Presents series. So it's still books about mythology, but it is not written by Rick Riordan anymore. And this book is The Storm Runner. And instead of being Greek mythology or any other kind of mythology, this one is on Mayan mythology, what I think is really, really cool because I've never read anything about Mayan mythology. The names have always been really hard for me to pronounce. And then it's kind of like reading Game of Thrones. Like there's so many names that I get confused. And so The Storm Runner is awesome. I'm loving it. I'm reading it and then I'm taking a break and reading something else, but I've not had any points where I'm lost. And it's about a boy who has one leg shorter than the other. So it's a really cool. I've never read a story where the main character has something like that going on. And there is a volcano in his backyard. And of course he's got to save the world as usual. But I'm also reading that. I'm also reading my nonfiction for this month is Daniel Pink's When, The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. And it is really sticking with me. I'm starting to think more about like, okay, if I make these decisions later on in my day, how is this going to work out if I think about it more in the morning? Like I'm starting to think more about how my day works and when I'm the most productive. So I'm not too far in, but so far it's really good. I like it. That's a good nonfiction read if you're interested. And so last year I read the second book in the Bruja series. So the first one was Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. And the second was Bruja Born. And I love Zoraida Cordova. I love her books. They're so much fun, beautifully written, beautifully imagined. And the other day on Twitter, she tweeted that she was writing a romance novel. And I was like, hold the phone. I need this. And so I did some searching, did some digging, did some emailing, and I got an ARC. And I'm hoping that I find someone else to read it with me because this book is fun. And this is Zoraida Cordova in another name, Zoe Castile, and this is Hired. So you can already tell this is going to be a steamy read. I'm really excited to finish it and see how it plays out. But yep, those are my books that I have for you this week. I'm really excited about The Gilded Wolves. I really hope a lot more people read it because I can't wait to talk about it with people. And again, Dead India was awesome too. So I hope y'all enjoyed this vlog. Happy Tuesday evening again. Have a great week, guys. Bye.